Okay, so hello everyone. If you've just joined us, welcome to another live session on Builder's Yard UK. So today we're going to be looking at quite a few things today. We're going to be looking at rainwater soakaway kits, and we're also going to be looking at septic tank and soakaway kits. So quite a few things that we're going to be looking at today. So let's rock and roll. Let's start this. So with rainwater soakaway crates, many people ask me, how do you install them? So I'll show you. So here's your typical house here, right? Here's your typical house. Hiya, Sadara, David Watson 438. Hello, welcome to you. Good to see you. So and also B has joined. Barney's joined. Hello, Barney. How are you, Barney? Good to see you, Barney. And hello to SM Cousins, all of you. So we are talking about rainwater. Okay, so let's say you've got a downpipe and it's not connected to anywhere, right? Let's say you've got a downpipe, it's not connected to anywhere. How do you connect your rainwater to a soakaway kit? Well, that's what we're going to show you today. All right, so the first thing that you've got to do in this instance is dig a hole. Okay, so you dig a hole first. Hello, Stephen Chubb. So you dig your hole. Now, when you dig your hole, you put your soakaway mat down. Okay, so this is called a soakaway mat. Then when you've done that, the next thing that you've got to put in is something called a bottle gully. So this is what they look at. So that's what a bottle gully looks like. And so basically the rainwater will go into a bottle gully. Okay, so that's pretty simple, isn't it? Then what you do from then, you connect what's called a 110 mil pipe into the bottle gully. Hello, Connie. Hello, user 557. So, yes, so you connect into that. So if I just zoom out a bit now, depending on how far away you want to actually put the rainwater soakaway, hi, IDK ballpen, hello. So depending on how far you want to put it away, you can add 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 pipes. But in this instance, hello, Colin Jones. I'm just going to, hello, AD. Colorwood. So you then from there you can actually put your soakaway rainwater soakaway crate there. Hello Tarek Suli, and hello Samot 92, good to see you. And so yeah, once you've done that, this is pretty much your soakaway, what the soakaway rainwater crate looks like. Hello S Black, good to see you. And hello Scotty, hello Sean France, nice to see you too, Sean. Hello Andrew Malin, all these people getting a hi, they're all waving at me. I wave back to them and say hi. If you just joined us, we're talking about soakaway kits today, right? So this is pretty much what a soakaway rainwater soakaway crate looks like. Now once you've got that in, the pipe, hello Arn 999, good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Once you've done that, you literally can put the 110 mil pipe straight into the middle of the soakaway crate, just like so. So that's pretty much how easy they are to install. Now, once you've done that, you can then start connecting the other rainwater crates around there. So let me show you how. So you literally can put one to the left. You can put another one in. In this case, we're putting 6 crates in. That's 4. That's 5, and that's 6. So that's how easy it is to actually put the rainwater kit in. The crates literally just are bunched together. Okay, and then when you've done that, you can put, or you can just fill it with rubble. Yeah, no, that's a good point, Joe. You could just fill it with rubble, but we're trying to do everything here to British standards and building control. So we're doing it to the book, Joe. We're doing it to the book, mate. But that's a good point, yeah. And so you can put the membrane on. So that's what it. So basically, this is what the rainwater soakaway kit will look like once you've dug your hole, once you've connected it to the pipes, and you've put the membrane around it. So that's pretty much what it looks like. And then you literally just cover it over with soil. So that's pretty much how they look. And so these people asking me, what do you membrane all the way to the bottom? Jim Bob, that's an amazing question, Jim Bob. Love your question there. So Jim Bob's just asked, do you membrane all around the bottom? The answer is most people don't do that. Before they used to cover it over the top, round the sides and underneath, right? But now, hello Noskov, good to see you again, Noskov. Hi, thank you very much, Noskov, for all your lovely roses, Noskov. So in answer to your question, Jim Bob, most people now just cover over the top, round the sides, because the soil can't come back up into the crates, if that makes sense. So and that way you allow the water to drain away even better, if that makes sense. Daniel Egg is asking me, won't you end up with weak points in your garden and therefore low spots? Now that's a very good question, Daniel LG, very good question indeed. So if I just come back out to here, all right, Daniel, so let's say this is our hole, Daniel, right? So that's the hole that we've just done. Now Noskov, wow, Noskov, are you sure you're not in the business already? Noskov has said they're rated for 40 tons, and she's right? Because when the crates actually go in the hole, well, if I show you a different look, if I show it from a different angle, so imagine these are your crates in the hole here, Jim Bob. They've got a rating. They're actually 60 ton bearing load, so you can drive tractors and buses and tanks over them, you know. And what that does, once the membrane's over there and the water's in there, like so, right? They just won't collapse. They keep the integrity and the structure of the hole. So that's basically how amazing the crates are. But Noskov, that's brilliant, Noskov. And so, yes, so we're just, if you've just joined us, we're talking rainwater soakaway kits. We're going to have a talk about septic tanks and soakaway kits in a minute, but we're just sticking on rainwater. TF Bates, the local fisherman, has said they compact together, hold a lot of weight, also usually backfilled with shingle as well. That's a really good point, TSF. I'll be honest, TSF, for me personally, and again, not dissing you or your lovely comment there, TSF, many people I know do use shingle to backfill around the crates and put in soakaway holes, but there's no scientific basis for doing so. I used to actually fill the holes with shingle. So let me explain what I mean. When you've actually dug a hole, you've got 100% cavity, right? And that means there's 100% air in there, or you could put 100% of water in there relative to the size of the hole. But what happens is, when you actually fill it with gravel, you only retain 5% of the original cavity, whereas these rainwater soakaway crates, they retain 100% of the cavity. So personally, TSF, that's why I personally like using these, rainwater crates, if that makes sense, and not using pea shingle. I find it just scientifically doesn't benefit percolation at all. But thank you for your point, Daniel LG. That's pretty good. Would it also improve drainage in the garden? Because it seems like a good way. Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, this is why people put them in. I mean, look. So here's your house here. If I just come out a minute and just show you this, right? So here's your house, right? So here's your house. So it's summertime. The ground's parched, right? And we're trying to, there's hose pipe bands and stuff around. So what happens? The rainwater will come down now, the downpipe from the roof, right? So you're having a flash flood one evening while we're asleep, or over the weekend, and then the water. Look at that. The water just drains straight into the crate, so it's like a little reservoir, and then from there that water can drain beautifully right into the ground. So yes, from that point of view, they're fantastic on many levels for many reasons. Argo 531, will it work in clay ground? Yes, it will work in clay ground, and I'll explain why to you. It works well in clay ground because the depth of the actual crate's only about 400 mil below the grass. So if I just zoom in here and show you, in fact, let me just show you a single one. Here we go. So here's a single one, right? So this basically, you can see how shallow, right, these crates are. So they're designed for heavy clay areas, right? Of course you do a percolation test, of course you would. But the point is that they're only 400 mil below the grass. Means, I mean, even clay, the worst clay in the country, blue clay, water still drains through that, albeit slower. So the nearer the grass that you can actually put the crates into, the more chance of percolation you've got. Will it work in clay ground? Yes, so it works fantastically in clay ground. I hope that's helped there. But these crates are really easy to install. Someone's asking me, where can I see more about the crates? Okay, well, we're called, if I just show you here we go. So my company is Builders Yard. We're builders merchants. Excuse me. We're called buildersyard.uk. So if you just go on Google and type in Builders Yard UK, I'll come up there, number one. And we do loads of stuff. We do attenuation crates, 60 ton, they're 39 quid a crate, which is like the cheapest in the industry. Most of these crates are like 50 quid each. We do septic tank and soakaway kits, rainwater soakaway kits. But anyway, the point is that if you want to know more, feel free to go on to Builders Yard UK. We do free suds reports. And so if you've got any specs that you want doing for free, then just email me, and every little helps, doesn't it? Not a lot you get free these days, but we offer a lot of advice, and I consult for free. Tilly Mint 2109, live at the bottom of the hill, garden floods. Could I dig a hole and fill it in with crates? It would. Okay, so yes, it would. Let me explain why. So let's say Tilly, you're at the bottom of the garden now. So here we go. Here's Tilly. She lives at the bottom of the garden. So what happens here, Tilly, right, at the bottom of the garden, let's pretend your land is really flooded with water, right? Really flooded with water, so it's waterlogged. So what would happen is this: the water would drain from the garden, right, straight into the crates, if that makes sense. So it would drain straight through the lawn into the crates. So then when it's done that, it will retain that. So the more crates you've got, the more water it will allow to drain from the garden into the crates. And then it'll just slowly release the water back into the ground, when it's not so soggy. So in the summer, right, it waters parched land, and in the winter excuse me, it drains the garden down into the crates, right, which dry the garden out. So it's got a twofold effect. Excuse me, I'm just gonna have a drink of water here. So how will they work great in clay where the water won't go anywhere? That's a good question. My work sell them at Ken Jamin says my work sell them at £36 including VAT. Well, I'll be honest with you, you can get loads of different rainwater crates out there, but these are the top ones. These are 60-ton bearing loads. You'll find many of the cheap ones out there for 30, 40, 50 quid. They're only 10, 20, 30, 40 tons. These are 60-ton crates. So these are the real deal. I don't like to just sell the cheap rubbishy crates that just, crush as soon as you walk on them. But it's a good point. Live in heavy clay area too. Okay, so this may be a benefit to everyone here. So the only way you can be sure excuse me, the only way you can be sure if a soakaway is going to work for you is to do a percolation test. And this is this is how you do one, right? You actually, where you're thinking of putting the crates, you dig a hole below where you're going to put the rainwater soakaway to about 300 mil cubed. Once you've done that, you fill the hole up with water like such, right? You dig the water and you fill it up like so. Now, when you've done that, you let it drain away overnight. Then you come back the next day and you fill the hole up with water again. Then you get your stopwatch ready now. And what you do, you wait for it to drop down just a quarter of its original height. You start your stopwatch now, and then you wait for it to drop down. Oh, I swallowed a piece of food before I started, so forgive me coughing. You wait for it to drop 150 mil. Okay, so it will drop from here to here. Then you stop your stopwatch. Then you'll have a figure. So that may have taken an hour or half an hour, something like that. And you convert it into seconds. Now there's 3,600 seconds in an hour. Then you divide it by 150. And if your figure is between 1 and 99, the closer to 1 the better. But if it's between 1 and 99, then a soakaway will work ideal in your garden. And that's how they basically test it. So here we go. Oh man, I swallowed the frog. What's going on? So that's why they work so well in heavy clay. just have decking. You could have decking, but not everyone likes to cover their whole garden with decking, you know. But it's a good point. Each to his own. One man's meat's another man's poison, isn't it? Scott Woodward, Tilly Mint. You'd be better off putting eco drainage channel at the bottom to run into the nearest manhole. Well, that's a good point, Scott, as well. But not everyone's got, different manholes located around. Basically, with these rainwater kits, you're creating like a reservoir in your garden. So the eco drainage is okay, but it's got to drain into somewhere. So that means you've got to dig manhole covers and pipes, and that's got to go somewhere. And if you're not connected to the sewer, then you're back to square one again. So that's why these rainwater soakaway kits, work well with everything. It's the PSMA 61 tons we do. Thank you, Ken Jamin. That's brilliant. I just had DTP says, I've just had a drain put in the bottom of our garden that leads to a gutter drain. Yeah, well, listen, if you've got some kind of drainage to go into, but now they're making it illegal now. If you're building a conservatory or a summer house or a shed or a drive, by law, you've now got to put these rainwater soakaways in by law now, Phil Smith says, I've always wondered about backfilling with water on a heavy downpour. Would it back up? Okay, so it depends on how big, your rainwater soakaway is, to be honest. So the way that you work it out is that when you've got a building, so say your building's here, okay, so this is how you work out how many rainwater crates you need. So here's your building. So let's say, right, this is your building. These are semi-detached, right? So you measure the width by the length of your property. Okay, then you times it, then you times those two figures together and divide it by 50, and that will tell you how many litres of rainfall that will fall and how many crates you need. So basically, the size of the soakaway is based on the surface area of your roof, if that makes sense, please. Note has just asked me, what does this do? Well, these are rainwater soakaways. So we're looking at if you basically got a downpipe and you've got a boggy garden or you want to irrigate your garden, then these rainwater soakaways basically go into a hole in the garden, and basically they conserve the rainwater, allowing it to water the garden, or if you've got a really boggy garden, they drain the garden of all the boggy water. It goes into the crates, and then it dries your garden out during the winter and the wet months. So Tilly Mint, Scott would that work? Would that work? Scott Woodward, for that to work, would the manhole have to be the same level or lower? See, this is the thing, Tilly, right? Listen, lots of people have got good intentions and they're putting forward good suggestions here. But for me, when anyone ever says about putting a rainwater soakaway in to the garden, right, it's best if you just start afresh. You see, on this one, Tilly, right, we've basically started a new run here. So you start off, right, so here's your downpipe coming down into your garden. And basically, by connecting, if I show you here, by connecting a bottle gully, so this is all fresh, you create your own levels, you put your own new levels in, and then basically by doing that, Tilly, right, you've set all your own levels, and you haven't got to worry about what other things are connected to or levels, because you can create your own levels, right, and your own size soakaway. So that's why, in a lot of sense, it's look, no house or garden, one size doesn't fit all. So, but when you put your own rainwater soakaway in, you can create it and size it and make the footprint and whatever to the size of your garden, if that makes sense, please. Dirty Tariff 191 says, I work with them, so simple to install. Well, there you go, Tilly. This guy's saying simple to install. Spanky 12 is saying, don't you need to have a proper title for soil? Don't quite know what you mean by that, but it's a good point. How deep do you have to dig the hole? All right, well, that's a good question. With these particular crates on these, the crates themselves, these rainwater crates, they're about 400 mil. All right, 400 mil deep. So the hole only needs to be about 500 mil deep in total. So this is why you can literally put your soakaway in an hour. Literally. Blue Boy, has to be 5 meters from the property. That's a really good, valid point, Blue Boy. Lots of people come to me and say, oh, it has to be 5 meters away. So there is no law on distance, right? There's no law on how far a soakaway has to be from your property, right? No law whatsoever. However, you don't want to obviously be too close where you're going to, cause damp problems in the house. But, so they say 5 meters is a safe recommended distance, but it's a good point. Dada and Gab Anna, that's not 5 meters away from the house. No, it's not, because there's no law how far away you have to be. Some people have only got postage stamp size gardens, so they can only put it close to the house. If you've got good damp proofing, then it isn't going to be a problem. Phil Smith, how would it hold up structurally over time with a soakaway under your drive being trafficated? Well, this is why Phil, this is the point. You can buy cheap rainwater crates. Someone came on before saying, oh, you can buy them for 35 quid each or whatever, and you see lots of people advertising crates out there, right? But they've only got like a 10, 20 ton bearing load. So the secret to your question is that they have to be BS British Standard rated. So these particular crates, rainwater crate kits, they've got a 60 ton bearing load. I mean, so that means tractors and lorries and wagons and buses can drive over them consistently. The BS standard, tests them on their breaking point, and they just, they're just structurally sound. They're like almost like a piece of rock in the garden. They just don't sag, they don't break, and they take about 50 years to eventually break down. Dada and Gabner, so no, there is no law, but haha. Okay, yeah. I mean, look. There isn't, it surprises people, right, when I say that, but there is no law regarding distances. There's guidelines and the suggestions. For example, building regs says this is a guidance document only. It's illegal to infer or impute that any of the information in here is mandatory and legal. So it actually states that in the first paragraph of building regs. So there is no law, So Ginger Whooper, 5 meters from property to avoid damp water ingress and subsidence. Ginger Whooper, I quite agree. Look, the further away that you can put it from your property, the better. Whilst there's no law, like they're saying, you don't actually want to, have damp issues or damp problems. So you've got to put it a reasonable distance away, and 5 meters seems to be a reasonable distance away. A Blue Boy, the square meter of your roof downpipe is taken depending on how many crates you need. That's right, Blue Boy. There's actually a calculation. If you measure the length of your property and the width of your property, right, and times those two figures together and times and divide it by 50, that gives you the literage and the number of crates that you need for your property. Matt, brickwork, never liked these, can't be old school, full with rubbish, more porous. That's true. Listen, some of the old soakaways or septic tanks that people make out there, you can't beat them. But unfortunately, if you want building regs to sign things off, then you've got to kind of do it their way, and these are all building regs approved. What are these kits that we're doing? Okay, so we do loads of different kits. If I just show you the website, people asking me where can they see this stuff, right? So here we go. So this is who we are. We're builders merchants. My name's Grant. Our website's Builders Yard UK. Just go onto Google, type in Builders Yard UK. We'll come up number 1 there. And you'll see on our site we do attenuation crates, 60-ton bearing loads. We do septic tank kits. We do rainwater soakaway kits, worm, which we're going to have a look at. We're going to have a look at the worm systems in a minute. So we do all kinds of stuff on there. So if you want to see the different size kits, they start at $4.99. The kits do. I mean, if I just click on one and show you, right? So here you go. Here's the rainwater soakaway kit. This particular one is 1 cubic meter. And with it, you get the pipes and you get the 60-ton. I swallowed something the wrong way, so forgive me for coughing. You get the membrane, the soakaway mats, the tapes, the rainwater crates, and the pipe work, and they're $4.99 delivered, and they literally take about an hour to install. So that's the best place to go and have a look at them if you want some more information on there, please. But so how many Big Macs pay for this? Do you know what I could do with a Big Mac tonight, to be honest? In fact, I like the wraps at the moment, so just 1 Big Mac will do nicely, please. I haven't got a big appetite. Chris Downis, get a drink, sir. Take care of yourself. Okay, so here's some Adam's Ale. I'm just going to have a drink of water. I was eating an oat bar before, and a bit of oat has just gone down the wrong way. Ah, I'm sold on it now. Yeah, I mean, look, user 1234, they're a damn good product. That's why. Look, that's why I do these live shows, because not lots of people have flooding issues, right, in their garden. They want to know how they can deal with the flooding issues. Well, if you put a rainwater soakaway kit in, all the water from the soil just drains into them, and it makes the soil dry. So, and in the summer, right, with the rain that comes off your roof goes into them and waters your garden. So they've like, killed two birds with one stone. Cameron says hi. Hiya, Cameron. Them files don't taste too good. No, you're right, they don't. They don't taste brilliant. So look, so we've just been talking about rainwater soakaway kits. Now I'm going to take this off, so we're going to move on now to something different for a minute. We're now going to go on to septic tank and soakaway kits. So this is something else that we sell here. So this is pretty much what a septic tank is. Many people ask me what a septic tank is. Well, a septic tank basically is like a sewage system that's connected to your house. So here you go. So this is pretty much, imagine that's your house, and that's what a septic tank and soakaway look like. Okay, so so all the poo and the wee and everything go in the septic tank from a property. So that's what we're looking at now: septic tank and soakaway kits. Okay, so basically how they work is this. So if I show you how they work, so basically if you're not on the mains drainage and you go for a poo, or you have a bath, or you go for a wee, all the toilet water, all the bath water, all the toilet roll, sanitary towels, condoms, stuff like that, they make their way into something called a septic tank and soakaway kit, which is what this is on here, right? This is a septic tank and soakaway kit. And they comprise of a septic tank, so that's what a septic tank is. And basically all the poo and the wee and the horrible stuff stays in the septic tank. This is called like a silt trap. It's an inspection chamber. All the condoms and sanitary towels and stuff, hello Bond, end up in there. And this is called the soakaway. So all the sewage effluent goes into there. Okay, so that's basically how they work. Now, these kits that we sell literally will save you £15,000 to £20,000, right? And they literally take 3 hours to install. I'll show you how to put it in. You literally put the tank in, then you put the pipes and the inspection chamber in, and then you put the soakaway in. You cover the soakaway with like a membrane, and you cover them over with grass. That's how easy these septic tank and soakaway kits are to install. So if I just show you a close-up version now. So the tanks, these are low-profile tanks. So what that means is they don't need concreting, right? You can literally just drop them into the hole. And the tank itself, these tanks themselves are maybe like 4.5, 5 feet in height, something like that. But as I said, they don't need concreting, which is brilliant, because a lot of these old tanks, if I show you, so here's an old looking traditional septic tank, which is the white tank. They call them an onion tank. And these onion tanks, you had to wrap around, put a big block of concrete around them, right? Hello, Milo, Gazound. Hello, Milo. Yeah, so you had to put a big block of concrete around them. And Cameron, hello Cameron, and they're just a nightmare to put in. So what I've done a comparison. So the septic tank and soakaway kit on the left is the modern equivalent. Hello, my good friend Dana, hello. And so this is the difference between a new septic tank and an old septic tank. Now the new ones so a septic tank is different from a sewage treatment plant. This is what a sewage treatment plant looks like, okay? So what that means is, so let's say you live next to a river or a stream here, right? So your poo and your wee aren't allowed to go directly into rivers and streams by law. So you have to put something in called a sewage treatment plant. Now the sewage treatment plant treats the sewage so it's safe and I wouldn't say drinkable, but it's safe to go directly into the water, like so. So the sewage will come out of this pipe here. You'd have like a cat flap on there, like a non-return valve, and then that will just sink and the water will just drain from there straight into the watercourse. So they call these kind of systems a sewage treatment plant. And you have to put a sewage treatment plant in if you live 30 feet or closer to a stream. So that's what a sewage treatment plant is. But if you live 30 feet or more away from a stream, then you can go for something called a septic tank and soakaway kit. And this is what these kits are, and they'll save you. I mean, people are charging 15 to 25,000 quid to put these kits in. It's nuts. And so these kits will save you, they're government approved kits, and they'll save you a lot of money. So you literally just drop the tank in like so. Once you've done that, then you just insert the inspection chamber and the pipes, and then you literally just put the soakaway in like so. Once you've done that, you cover the soakaway with membrane, and I'll show you an aerial view. So that's what it looks like from an aerial view. Then you just cover with soil, and that's pretty much how they work. I mean, the traditional old septic tanks, the black tank is what the new tanks look like. The black tank is what the new tanks look like, and the old white bulbous tank there, that's called an onion tank, right? That's called an onion tank. So that's typically what people have been putting in for the last 20 or 30 years. But as you can see, they're like flipping heck, 5 times bigger than a new septic tank, yeah? So they're just horrendous, you know, to put in. And if I just show you a scale here, right? So the septic tank system on the left, yes, we do sell them CTA assessments. So I'll just show you CTA assessments, asking if we sell these. Yes, so I'll just show you. Here they go. So our site, my name's Grant. We're builders merchants, and so if you go onto Google when you've got 5 minutes and type in Builders Yard UK or buildersyard.uk, all one word, but Builders Yard UK, you put that in, and it'll take you to our website. And we sell everything from attenuation crates, but we sell septic tank kits, right? And they're all based on bedrooms now. So we sell 1 to 2 bedroom kits, 3 to 4 bedroom septic tank kits. And they're really cheap in the sense of they'll save you 15 to 18,000 quid. They take about 3 hours to put in. These are what the kits cost, 3,499 delivered and with VAT. So yes, so we do sell them. And yeah, they'll save you 15,000 quid and take about 3 hours to install. Dana, what's the advantage of this system over normal household sewage system? Okay, so there's 3 types of sewage systems, Dana. Right, one goes into a sewer. So if you live in the town or London or somewhere like that, you flush the loo, you never worry about it again because they go into a main sewer. Right, if you live off-grid, Dana, if you live off-grid, then you have to put something called a septic tank and soakaway in. So if I just show you, so that's pretty much, here's your house in the country, you live off-grid, you'd go into something like this. Oh, CT assessments, sorry CT assessments, I was a bit quick there. Let me just put it up again. So we're CT assistants. We're builders merchants, basically. So our company is Builders Yard UK. So if you just go onto Google and type in Builders Yard UK, you'll see us come up number 1 there. And yeah, we sell everything to do with building and construction and drainage. If you want to email me, then feel free to email me at sales@buildersyard.uk. So there you go. So yeah, so that's who we are, and that's where you can look at more of the products. And if you just scroll down there, CT assessments, just screenshotted it. Yeah, so buildersyard.uk. So just I think you can just go on Google and type in builders space yard space UK, and we come up there. But anyway, the point is you'll see all our stuff on there. But thank you, CTA assessments. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, so Dana, so this is a sewage. Oh, so hold on, what's going on here? So this is yeah, well look, CTA assessments, right? I mean, as I said, I've been installing for about 20 years, and septic tank installers hate these kits, to be honest with you, because you know, and I don't blame them, because they to supply and fit they charge anywhere, as you know, right, from 12 to 18,000 quid. These kits, they cost 3.5 grand. They're complete. They take 3 hours to put in, and they're government approved. You get a government certificate with them. There's no electricity. There's no flipping, you know, building control. Love them, you know, and I mean, I'm just showing you. I mean, the tank itself, right? The tank itself is like 4.5 to 5 feet deep. I mean, and the crates, the drainage field crates, they're about foot and a half below the grass to the bottom. So they're just amazing to put in. I mean, when I started out in the business, right, I had to put these flipping systems in. Let me show you this, CTA. I had to put these in, these onion tanks, and they're a nightmare. I mean, that's the difference in size, CTA. How do you make them? How do you weigh them? Do you mean how do I make them, or is that what you mean, CTA assessments? Sorry, but anyway, this is the difference in size between the onion tanks, right, and the new government septic tanks. How do you empty them? Okay, yeah, fine. Well, I'll show you. So let's say this is your house here, then CTA assessment. So let's say this is your house. In fact, if I go to the house one, I'll show you. So you'll notice then on the tank itself, you've got two green lids. And so if you're 200 meters away from a road and the septic tank people can come along, they'll just put a hose in there and they'll suck all the sludge out once every 5 years. You can also, you'll see on my website, CTA Assessments, we do a worm version as well. So worms live in there and eat all the poo and the debris, and they convert the sewage into organic plant food. So we do two different types of septic tank kits. So yes, so if you've just joined us, we're talking septic tank and soakaway kits. Oh, they are really, really good. That's why I'm so passionate about them. I've been doing in this business. Look, there's tons of septic tanks out there, right? And you know, and while I'm not going to demonize anyone like that, you know, these are the cream of the crop. I mean, I was saying before CT assessments, right? If you live 30 feet or nearer to a watercourse, and you've got to put something in called a treatment plant. And lots of these treatment plant companies try and demonize septic tank and soakaways, right? Because they want you to buy one of these. But while there's some good systems out there, and if you live near a watercourse, you've got to put them in. These things cost like flipping 1,500 quid a year to run. They cost about 700 quid a year to run in electricity costs, right? They only come with a year's warranty. They got gears and cogs and pulleys and bearings and motors and shafts inside them. You've got to get them serviced every year, about 300, 450 quid a go. People don't realise that these sewage treatment plants over 5 years cost them about 7,500 quid just to run and maintain them. So that's basically the difference between a septic tank and a sewage treatment plant. CAT assessments, I got a yard where I'm looking for one. Okay, yeah, fair enough. So we both got a yard by the sound of it, CTA assessments, with me and Builder's yard and you and your yard, part of the same family there. Oh yes, 80 quid a week to empty the tank. It's horrendous. That's why I got into the building game to start with, because where I was, right, in the woman's garden, if I just show you this, if I just come here, in the woman's garden, she had one of these onion tanks, right? And I just got married, and it was in her garden, right? And all our wastewater went into her garden, and we were having to pay 75 quid a week, you know, which is our part share of the cost of what it costs to get emptied, and it made me ill, right? So I'm paying like 300 quid out a month for what? I didn't even know what a septic tank and soakaway was, so I thought, stuff this, right? And then I put my own septic tank and soakaway in, and I thought, how many people are stuck paying out this stupid kind of money, right? You know, to have their tank emptied all the time. So the point is, look, 80 quid a week. I don't know, you're paying 80, did you say 80 quid a week? Yeah, 80 quid a week. Where's my phone going? I was just going to get my calculator on there. 80 quid a week. Well, what's that? That's £320 a month, right? That's crazy, isn't it? Even at 10 months, that's 3,000, almost 4,000 quid a year, just getting your tank emptied. This kit CTA assessments, flipping heck, will pay for itself in 10 months, right? And you get like a government certificate with it. See, all septic tanks now, septic tank owners have to have an MOT certificate with their system. And unless your system was put in after 2021, no one's got one, you know. So, but you get one of those with these. Yeah, 80 quid a month. Well, 80 quid a month. Well, that's still what, 800,000 or 1,000 quid a year, isn't it? 900 quid. I don't have any idea what you're talking about, mate. Oh, sorry. I apologise. So basically we're talking septic tanks, right? So if you live off-grid, Sherbitab, if you live off-grid, then you'll be connected to something called a septic tank and soakaway like this. And if you need your septic tank replacing or you've got to put one in, septic tank installation firms are charging 15 to 20,000 quid to do it. These kits basically will save you 15,000 quid, and they literally take about 3 hours to install. So that's what we're talking about. Sherbatab, you know all the regs. Okay, brilliant. Well, you also know that these tanks are really easy to put in because they're low profile and they don't need any electric or concreting. Fair enough. But they're really easy to install. Literally just drop it in the hole, put in the inspection chamber, the silt chamber, you put in the soakaway, cover it with membrane so it looks like so. Takes about 40 minutes to dig the hole, 40 minutes to put the kit in, and about probably 40 minutes to cover it all over. So, then you can either just turf it or put grass seed in there. And so, so that's basically what the septic tank and soakaway kit. Is there any size requirement for the soakaway? That's a really good question, CTA assessments, really good question. So I'll answer your question now. Right, so let me bring my website back up and answer it really simply. So basically the government now have said everything's based on bedrooms. So because we government manufacturers, the kits are built to bedrooms now. So that's why you can get it on a 1 to 2 bedroom, 3 to 4, 5 to 6. Someone rang me before, and they've got a 2-bedroom property, but they're going to maybe, I don't know, put another bedroom on there in the next 5 years. So for another 500 quid, you can double the size and go to a 3 to 4 bedroom. So everything's based on bedrooms now. So the soakaways that actually come with these kits, the actual soakaways are actually designed to the government spec and sizing. So all these kits that we sell, they're all government, they're environmental agency approved and building regs, building control approved. So that's what's so good about them. You can just literally just slap them straight in. So that's the size of the soakaway there. So and with them, if I just scroll down, with the septic tank kits, so you get the tank, you get the pipe work, you get the drainage field crates, you get the membrane, and you get the inspection chamber. The total, I've got no bedrooms, just customers, 6 to 10 people a week. Okay. So conversion on a, all right, let me ask you this then, CT. That's fine. Listen, no problem at all, right? So for businesses, it does still work with people. Let me just turn the website off so I can see you a bit better there. There we go. So, okay, so how, if I was to ask you CT assessments, say it was your busiest day of the year, you got all your workers in, all your mates in, and maybe even some customers. How many loos have you got, and how many people would what's the most people that would be on your premises at one time? Then I can answer your question, please. So on your busiest day of the year, how many mates, workmen, and how many customers or whatever would be on the site at one time, please? How big are the septic tanks? Okay, so that's a very good question. So the septic tanks themselves, right, if I just come to here, the septic tanks, they're literally 4.5 to 5 foot in height. And so they're about like 1.6 meters, and they're about 2 meters wide, so about 6 foot wide on that. So yes, so that's the size of the tanks there. Tilly Mint 2109, gotta go. Thanks so much, Grant, for your advice, really helpful. Listen, Tilly, have a lovely evening, and it's been a privilege talking to you, and I wish you the best, Tilly. Thank you so much. Have a good one. CT Investments, at the moment 7 people, give or take, so you just go for the smallest one. That 1 to 2 bedroom is equivalent to 1 to 12 people, if that answers your question. So you just go for the baby kit there, which is 3. So if I just show you the baby kit there, CT assessment. So the 1 to 2 septic tank and soakaway kit there, they're 3,499 delivered. That includes VAT. That's the free delivery. So that's all in. So I got them on offer, I'll be honest, this month, what with flipping all the tariffs and everything coming in, and every little helps. So they're basically loss leaders, these ones are, for me. But the point is, look, every little helps, doesn't it? If if we can all flipping rub us some pennies together that we got left over from buying something, then all the better. You take care, Tilly. Great speaking to you. So yes, so that's it. So you just go for the 1 to 2 bedroom one, please. Yes. So yes, so no problem. Delivery's about 7 to 10 days. But look, if you've got any questions or whatever CT assessments, then just send us an email or give us a bell. And if you've got any other questions or queries, I can put your mind at rest. But the point is, if you buy one, I'll just walk you through step by step how to install it. Once you've installed it, you'll be like, right, I'm going to become an installer. It's just so easy to install. Get yourself a 3 or a 5-ton digger, and I'm not kidding. You'll start at like 9 and you'll be done by 12. You'll be like, wow, I'm glad I listened to that lad, kind of thing. But anyway, but Luke Patterson, what's the largest population these can handle? Well, sky's the limit, to be honest. We do different sizes. So do anywhere from 1 bedroom to, 15 bedrooms or one person to like 300 people. So obviously the tank itself would be bigger and the soakaway area would be bigger. I mean, the total footprint at the moment for these ones, 1 to 12 people, the hole's about 18 foot long, 8 foot wide, 4.5 to 5 foot deep, and about 1.5 foot deep for the soakaway. So the size would exponentially grow, the more people that we use in it, if that makes sense, please. How many litres inside the septic tank? Well, again, it depends which ones you go for. They don't work on litres now, funnily enough. It's actually about the size of the soakaway. So in old money, if I just show you this, please, excuse me, these are the old septic tanks and soakaways, right? So before they used to put, like, you could either have a 3,000 litre, which is the black one in this illustration, or you could have like a 12,000 litre. And people used to think, oh, it's the size of the septic tank that matters, and it really doesn't, because look, all septic tanks are 3/4 full of liquid, so when you empty a bath load of water displaces through the tank and into the soakaway. So now what they worked out is it's actually the size of the soakaway that actually matters, not the size of the tank anymore. So the size of the tank's irrelevant, but the law states it's got to be a minimum of 2,000 litres plus the amount of literage for everyone that lives in the house. And those figures are based on British Water's figures, if that makes sense, please. Yeah, you take care, CT Assessments. Thank you. Mick Mason, does the ground condition affect the size of the soakaway? We are in heavy clay. All right, Mick Mason. So look, I'll try and make it really simple for you. So when you've located where you want to put your soakaway roughly, you have to do a percolation test. So this is how to do one and to get the scientific answer to your question, right? So you don't have to guess or, right. So basically you work out where your soakaway is going to be and you dig a hole, right, under where you're going to put the soakaway pipe. It's about 300 mil cubed. Then you fill that little hole, right, a 300 mil cubed hole with water, right? Then you let it drain away overnight. Then the next morning you fill it with water again like such. And then you get your stopwatch ready. Now, after it's dropped 1/4 of its height, you then start your stopwatch. Now, it will then you time how long it takes to drain down 150 mil. Then you stop your stopwatch. So you'll have a figure now. So let's say it took an hour to do that, right? You convert it into seconds, so the 3,600 seconds in an hour, and then you divide that by 150, and as long as your figure is between 1 and 99, you're laughing, because that is the government calculator and metrics and equation to find out if your soil percolation is any good or not. Obviously, the closer to 1, the better. So that's basically how you'd work out scientifically if your land is suitable for one of these septic tank and soakaway kits. And if it is, these are designed to work within that framework of 1 to 99 based on the government and British Water's percolation test. So so that's Nick. Mike says, so I hope that's answered your question there, right? Mike said, my septic tank is 60 years old, never been emptied, and shouldn't if you look after it. Yeah, that's true, Mike. I mean, look, I'll be honest, the old septic tanks, are a lot better than the new ones, in the sense of they last like hundreds of years, but unfortunately the government don't see it that now, right? Everyone who's got a septic tank has to have an MOT, Mike. So just like a car does. So if the coppers stopped you, Mike, tomorrow, they said, all right, Mike, that's a lovely Bugatti you got there, not interested in the car, mate, let's see your MOT please, certificate. Now if you ain't got one, you get prosecuted, and it's the same with septic tanks now. Now that won't flag up until you come to sell your house, or the environmental agency ever knock on your door, but they'll say, Mike, can you show us your MOT certificate? You'll say, no, I can't, but I'm a responsible septic tank owner. I've got, here's all the receipts from all the emptying I've done over the years, and I've replaced this bit and that. They don't care. So all septic tanks now have to come with an MOT certificate. If you ain't got one when you come to sell your house, they'll get you to drop your house price by 25,000 quid. So whilst you've got a good tank there, Mike, and you sound a very responsible septic tank owner, unfortunately that doesn't help us when we come to sell our house. So, but thank you very much, I hope that helps. Mick Mason, thank you. No problem, Mick. Yes, so if you've just joined us, we're talking septic tank and soakaways. Okay, so we've talked about that. So now, someone's asking me, where can I see more about the septic tanks and the soakaways? Well, I'll show you. Here we go. So my site, our site, we're a builders merchants. My name's Grant. Builders Yard. If you just go onto Google and type in Builders Yard UK, we'll come up there, number one, Builders Yard UK, and you'll see some of the products we sell. We sell attenuation crates, or rainwater crates as they're also known as. We sell septic tank and soakaway kits. We do rainwater soakaway kits. We do worm sewage systems. So we do everything here at Builders Yard. So if you want to see more information, or send me an email, or you want a free a drainage report done, free suds report, just email me at sales@buildersyard.uk, and I'll do a free suds report. I'll do free reports for you. That's what I love doing. I love helping people, you know, and I love helping people for free. So feel free to email me, reach out to me. Yeah, I didn't know about the MOT. Yeah, no problem. I mean, if you're never moving, Mike, then it probably, you know, it's never something that you're going to worry about. But when you come to sell your house, you'll be pulling your hair out, because the people buying your house, Mike, are crafty, and they'll get a drainage firm to come in and they'll condemn your system and then try and knock your house price down by 25 grand. But this is where these kits come in then, you see, Mike, because you can buy one of these kits for 3.5 grand. You can get someone to put it in half a day. You get your MOT certificate, right? And you don't have to drop your house price. So this is where these septic tank and soakaway kits are saving people 18,000 quid, and that's why they're really popular. Yeah, so yes, so I really appreciate that. So we've just been talking septic tank and soakaway kits. So now I'm going to come off here, and now I'm going to go on to, here we go, bear with me, here we go. Now I'm going to go back to people asking me about rainwater soakaways. So if you wonder what a rainwater soakaway is, so here, this is what we're talking about, rainwater soakaways. So these aren't sewage soakaways, these are rainwater soakaways, okay? So, and what that means is, well, you can kill two birds with one stone with these kits, right? Because if your garden is parched in the summer, they will water your garden. If your garden is waterlogged in the winter, then these rainwater kits will basically, you know, water your garden for you, if that makes sense, right? So let me show you how they work. So this is basically what the kit looks like when it's full up with water. So I don't know if anyone out there has ever put a rainwater kit in, but pretty much this is what they look like. Has anyone out there done one of these? They're quite easy to install, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do. That's pretty much how they work. Let me show you how they work here, right? So here we go. So once you put the crates in, the water can either come off your roof and it can water your garden, or if your garden's waterlogged in the winter, then the water from the garden will drain into the crates and then, you know, make your garden dry. So that's basically how they work, right? So let me show you how to put them in. Many people asking me, how do you install these? Well, this is why I love doing these. So let's say this is your house and you've got your downpipe. So here's your downpipes going into your garden right here, like so. So here's your downpipe right here. So we go to your downpipe. Now you'll notice that if the rain just comes off the roof, now it's just going to go onto the garden and make your garden all boggy. So what you've got to do is this, right? So you dig a hole, number one. So you dig a hole where you want your rainwater soakaway putting. Then you put something in there called a soakaway mat. This is what the soakaway mat looks like. So it's a mat that sits at the bottom of the hole there. And so once you've done that, the next thing you've got to do is put something in called a bottle gully. This is what the bottle gully looks like. In this instance, they're 110 mil. So you put the bottle gully in there like so, and then you connect 110 mil pipe to it like so. So you connect the pipe to it like that. So if I just zoom out a bit, this is typically what it looks like. But that's what it looks like with the 100 mil pipe connected to it. Now, depending on how far away you want your soakaway, depends on how many pipes you want to connect away from the house, right? Lots of people say 5 meters, 2 meters, 3 meters. So obviously you don't want it too near your house or you're going to get damp, all right, problems. But the point is, let's say it's this far away, and then at the end, what you do, you put it into your crate. So if I just show you here, right, what it looks like. All right, so this is what the rainwater crates look like. So if I just swap that over, there you go. That's what the rainwater crate looks like. And the 110 mil pipe literally just slots into the middle of the crate like so. Now these crates, they've got a 60 ton bearing load. So that means, you know, you can run tractors over them, you can put them under driveways, you can put cars over them. So this pretty much is what the crates look like. So the pipe just goes straight into there. Now once you've put your pipe in, putting the rainwater soakaway kit in is really simple, right? You literally put what, if in this instance, say you've got 6 crates here, you just put 1 crate in, 2 crates, 3 crates, 4 crates, 5 crates. So here's your 6 crates, and that's basically what they look like when they've been put in. And that basic kit there that you're looking at, this will hold about 1,200 litres, because each crate here is about 200 litres in capacity. And once you've done that, you put the membrane over them. Now the membrane, that stops the soil going into the crates, right? But it allows the water to drain out of the crates. And so this is basically what it looks like from a different angle. So once you've dug your hole, right? So once you've dug your hole, that's pretty much what it looks like. All right. So, and once you've done that, then you just cover it over with soil. So these rainwater crates literally take about flipping heck an hour something to do something like that, and they're pretty amazing. I love them. Whoever invented these, you know, they deserve like a flipping Nobel Prize or something if that's what you give people. But that's pretty much what it looks like, you know, once you've done it, you know. And basically how they work is all the rainwater that comes off your roof. So imagine here's your roof here. So all the rainwater will fall off your roof. It'll come down the gutters. It'll come down the downpipe, and it makes its way down from the orange pipe into these crates, right? And then when it's done that, once it's gone into the crates like that, then that's pretty much what it looks like when the water actually goes in there. So, you know, it's very, 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 very clever stuff. So that's what it looks like when the water goes into the crates there. And then, as I said, you just literally cover it over with membrane. So the white cover, Charlie, the white cover here is called membrane. So you imagine you've got your crates in the hole here, Charlie. So this is what the crates are like in the hole here, right? So the white membrane, see, what happens is that if you didn't have a covering over there, then the soil, right, the soil would just go straight into the crates. So right, okay, like so. So look, so there's your crates here. There we go. That's a better picture. And so you put the membrane over, so that stops the soil going into the crates. So what the pipe and everything is covered like that. But it's a very good way. So that's pretty much what it looks like from the other angle there, right? And then that basically stops the soil from going in. So once you've done that, this is what it looks like from a different angle here, right? Then you just literally put the soil over it. So now you've got your, see, you've got your bottle gully here that you put in. And if I just go back to how we started that, see, that's what the bottle gully would look like when we put it in. And you're literally just connecting your pipes here now, connecting your pipes to it. And then when you've done that, once you've done that, the beauty about these rainwater crates is they just literally go on the end like so. That's pretty much what they look like. And they're very, very light as well. Rainwater harvesting, Liam. Yeah, rainwater harvesting is like a different kettle of fish. I mean, a rainwater harvester is like, it's got the pump and stuff in, and you can have your rainwater go into the harvester, and then you can put that back into your toilet and washing machine, stuff like that. But this is for a different reason. This is, Liam. This is basically to the rainwater here is basically used to water your garden in the summer, right? To water your garden in the summer, or in the winter, if your garden's waterlogged, then the rain will literally just come off the lawn through the soil and drain into these little reservoirs here, drying out your lawn. So, you know, from that point of view, they're really, really good. But that's pretty much what they are. Samantha's asking me, where can I see more information on this? Okay, so you can see more information on this. We've got a website. So my name's Grant, and I'm buildersyard.uk, buildersyard.uk. Just gone to Google, or you can just type in Builders Yard UK, and we'll come up there. We're builders merchants, so we sell everything from, you know, the attenuation crates to septic tank and soakaway kits, which you probably saw before. What we're talking about now is the rainwater soakaway kits, right? And they come in different sizes depending on the size of it. They come in a cubic meter. You know, you get the pipework, the crates, the tape, the membrane, the mat. So you get a lot, and they start at $4.99 delivered. You know, that's all in. So really, really, really good value for money. But anyway, in answer to your question, that's who we are, buildersyard.uk. So if you want a free suds report doing, a free drainage report doing, then just feel free to email me at sales@buildersyard.uk, and I'll do a free report for you. And you know, because every little helps, doesn't it, as Tesco says. So you know, if you want a free report, then feel free to reach out to me. Jim Bob, now outside stabbing holes at the bottom of the membrane. Yeah, mind you, don't stab yourself, Jim Bob, right? You wouldn't want to end up in hospital. Clearan says, what do you recommend doing when the ground is high in clay? Well, I'd recommend one of these systems, Kieran, 100%, because they're designed to work in heavy clay in heavy clay soil conditions. But I can give you a scientific answer as well as that, right? So what you need to do, Kieran, which you probably know already, but you need to do a percolation test. Now, let's say, Kieran, right, you've decided that you're going to put your soakaway in the garden, somewhere like here. So let's pretend, Kieran, you've worked out where your soakaway is going to go. And let's say this is your discharge pipe right here. So what I mean by discharge pipe is the place that your pipe goes into the crate. All right, so that's where you need to roughly work out where your soakaway is going to meet your pipe. Now, Kieran, once you've done that, Kieran, what you then do, you do a percolation test. So let's say this is that pipe here. What you do, you dig a 300 mil squared hole below that pipe, like so, right? 300 mil squared hole below that. And then what you do, you fill that hole. So you dig your hole like so, and then you fill it with water. And then you let that water drain away overnight, and then you come back the next morning and you fill it with water again, like so. Now, you get your stopwatch ready now, Clearan, and then what you do, you wait for it to drop a quarter of its height. You start your stopwatch right here, and then you wait for it to drop 150 mil, like so. Then you stop your stopwatch. Now, you work out the amount of time that it took to drop 150 mil. Then what you do, so let's say it took an hour, you convert it to seconds, 3,600 seconds in an hour, you divide that by 150, and that gives you a figure, should give you a figure between 1 and 99. Now, if you've got that figure between 1 and 99, then scientifically, according to the government and British Water, that's the exact figures that you need to put a rainwater soakaway in. So that's how you do it scientifically to find out if one of these rainwater kits is ideal for you or not. So Shady's back. Is the hole then backfilled with rainwater? Is the hole then backfilled and the rainwater waters the soil? That's correct, right? So if I just show you this, right? So if I just give you an example. So let's say, right? So let's say it's summer. All your rainwater's coming off your roof. It's coming down the down pipe, Shady backs here, and then it comes down and it comes into these rainwater soakaway kits, right? So that's pretty much how it works. So there you go. Then the water comes. So say it's summer, your ground's parched. All the rainwater, it rains, you know, over the weekend. weekend, it goes into the crates and then it drains out of there and waters your garden. But you also kill two birds with one stone, because let's say it's winter time, right, and your ground is waterlogged and soggy, right, and it's causing problems. Then what happens is, if you put one of these in, the water from the soil and the ground drains into the crates, because it's like a little reservoir, right, and dries your garden. So it works both ways, to be honest. Shady's back. So that's how it works. Fair play, mate. The world needs more creators like you. Well, Frank Patrick, I believe whatever you're doing, your heart and soul's got to be in it, and quite a few grounds people and installation people are coming on and watching this, and they like the accuracy of it. And if this gives them more work and more jobs to installers, then so be it. That's why I do it. And also, more importantly than that, Frank Patrick, it's it also helps the layman, people who have got boggy ground, gardens and stuff like that, and don't know how to kind of deal with it without paying like $5,000 out or stuff like that. It just helps everyone. So look, if I can help anyone save money and put a solution in place that'll save them hundreds of pounds, and I'm giving peace of mind, then job done. Living in the countryside in a granny flat, I think my wastewater from the sink, dishwasher and shower is set up like this. Thoughts? Well, all right, so just coming back to this then, Frank Patrick, I'm going to change tack now and answer your question. I'm going to turn the crates off, and we're now going to go to septic tank and soakaway kits. So coming back out of this, so pretend then this is your granny flat, right? So regardless of whatever it is, if you've got your grey water should be going into a septic tank system, because it's not allowed to go into a rainwater system. So this is a septic tank and soakaway kit. So all the poo and the wee, if I just show you a little video I've done here. So if you have a bath, or you have a poo, or you've got, all your sanitary towels, your condoms, your stuff like that, it goes down the loo, and your grey water and your washing machine water, your dishwasher water, all goes into something called a septic tank kit. And that's what this is. So this is a septic tank, oops, gone a bit mad there, a septic tank and soakaway kit. So what that means is that's a legal way of disposing of your grey water. So hopefully it's going into something like that. So that's what my thoughts are as an initial answer to your comment. Neil Brown, can rainwater soak away into the same water as a septic tank? No, it's illegal. However, saying that, right, so just to be clear on this, right, you can only put rainwater into a rainwater soakaway and sewage into a sewage soakaway. But there's no law on the partition between the rainwater and the sewage soakaway. So what some builders do, they put a manhole further down, so the sewage goes into the sewage soakaway and the rainwater goes into the rainwater soakaway. Then it drains down into a gully and then converges. So people do get around it. But if you want the legal answer, the responsible answer, no, a rainwater should not go into a sewage soakaway, because it can overload the system. So and what with pollution on everyone's minds at the moment, on TikTok they're showing drinking water, how polluted it is, and the rivers getting polluted, so you've got to uphold the responsible side there. Neil Brown, can rainwater soak away? Oh, right, I've answered that, legend. But listen, that's really good questions from everyone today. Really enjoying these questions from everyone. Yeah, I've still got a bit of time before I have to leave the office and go back. But if you've just joined us, we're talking septic tank soakaways. We're talking rainwater soakaways. So if you've got a septic tank, people asking me, where can I see the septic tank kits? Well, I'll show you. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so bear with me. All right, so my name's Grant. We're a builder's merchant. We're called Builders Yard. So if you go onto Google and type in Builders Yard UK, we'll come up there. You can see all our products there, Builders Yard UK. And we do attenuation crates. We do 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6 bedroom septic tank kits. We do rainwater soakaway kits. And these are really good, these are really good systems here. And the beautiful thing is they won't burn a hole in your pocket or cost the earth. The septic tank and soakaway kits will save you about 15,000 quid. And these rainwater soakaway kits, they start at 499 delivered. So, you know, you can't get a lot now for 499, but you can get a decent rainwater kit. But that's who we are. So if you want any free suds reports or drainage reports done for free, no catch, just send me an email at sales@buildersyard.uk, sales@buildersyard.uk. And yeah, I will give you a free suds report, free drainage report, whatever report. We do it for free. I love doing them for free and helping people. So yeah, that's who we are, and that's where you can find us. So yeah, so if you've just joined us, we're looking at septic tank and soakaway kits. And interestingly, this is what the old septic tanks look like compared to the new septic tanks, right? So so the new system on the right is and the old system on the left, that's the difference in size now, right? Because what happened was, right, back in the 80s when they brought these onion tanks out, you had to flip in, because they're so big and bulbous, right, you had to flip in, you spent a week putting them in, and once you put them in, you've got to flip in concrete them in like this, put a big concrete blanket around them. So they take about 2 weeks to put in, right? But not only that would they take 2 weeks to put in, the soakaway would be like the size of a flipping football field, right? Size of a football field. And but with the newer systems, you can see they're it's a no-brainer. Look at the size. They're like, what, 90% smaller in size of the footprint. So for me, it's a no-brainer. The old system to the new systems, they're just completely different. It's amazing how technology changes over 30 years, to be honest. But if you've just joined us, we're talking septic tanks and soakaways, and I'm going to go back now to... So we've just been talking septic tank and soakaways. That's the size of the new systems and the old systems. Frank Patrick, I live in Ireland, so might not be able to avail of your services. Well, you can, if you can get your haulier to Anglesey, then you can avail my services as much as you like. It's easier now. The Irish hauliers love picking stuff up from Anglesey. They'll charge you maybe 100 quid or whatever, Frank. But so yes, so that's the best way to get our products to Ireland now after Brexit. So yes, so we're talking septic tanks and soakaways, we're talking poo and wee and rainwater and drainage and building, all kinds of stuff like that, you know. So yes, so now let me show you this. So let me come back off here for a minute, right, and put that back on and put that off. So that was the septic tank and soakaway. So now let's get back to rainwater then. Many people ask me, they say, why don't people use, is it best to use gravel or is it best to use rainwater crates? Well, let me show you. Right, if you dig a hole, you've got 100% cavity, right? Now, that means 100% of liquid can fit in the hole, right? Now, what people don't realize, and I didn't used to realize this myself, right? When you fill a hole in with gravel, right? When you fill a hole in with gravel, you've just filled the cavity back in. So you had 100% cavity, right? Which was the hole. And then you fill it in, you've just filled the hole back in. So that means instead of 100% water being in the hole, you can now only put in 5% of the original volume back into the hole. Misinformation, well, okay. I mean, look, so user 9415 says misinformation, but look, so here's your empty hole, user 961. Let's do the science here, right? If you left the hole empty, you'd fill it all with water. Now, if you fill it with rock, which is like concrete, you've just filled the hole back in, haven't you? And if you look in British Water, they will tell you that only 5% of the original cavity remains. So that is why, right, people put rainwater crates in the hole, because it retains 95% of the original cavity, right? And yes, and allows the rainwater to drain away fantastically. So that's why people don't use a gravel or shingle or broken rocks anymore. It's just, it's fantastic. They really, really are very, 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 very clever. So yes, if you've got any questions about rainwater, about percolation tests, for example, we've been talking about how do you channel your rainwater into A soakaway. Well, I'm going to show you. So the first thing you need to do, right, is to dig a hole. Okay, so dig a hole, right, so, which is just down below your rainwater pipe. So here's your hole, just like so. So imagine that's your hole, right? So you've dug your hole, and then when you've dug your hole like so, the next, which looks like that, the next thing you've got to do is put your soakaway mat in there. Now it's a mat. Now I'll explain why you've got this matting in here, but that's the soakaway mat. Now once you've done that, the next thing that you do is put a bottle gully in. So this is your bottle gully right here. You've probably seen them, you know, loads, but that's a bottle gully. So that's pretty much what it looks like. So you put your bottle gully in. Then once you've done that, you connect a 110 mil pipe into your bottle gully, just like so. So if I zoom out now, this is what it looks like from here. So this is what it looks like with the bottle gully with your pipe in. Okay, now, depending on how many lengths of pipe you put to connect to that, depends how far away from the house the soakaway will be. But let's say you just put 2 pipes in, okay? Then the next thing you do is put a rainwater kit to your pipe that you've got. John Kenneth, why do you need to fit a gully for rainwater? There will be smells. Rainwater doesn't smell, to be honest with you, if the job's done right. The only reason rainwater would smell is if it stagnates and it can't drain anywhere. But a proper draining rainwater soakaway will never smell. Why fit a gully? Because you need a connection from the drain pipe into the 110 mil pipe. So you've got to have some kind of connection or fitting for it to actually, if I just show you here. So you need some kind of fitting for the rainwater to come down, make its way into it. Also acts like a trap. So if you've got any leaves or moss in there, it'll actually hold on to them. And then you can just lift the lid on that and pull the moss and the leaves out. But the point is, it's a perfect connection for a silt trap, and also allows the rainwater to drain from there directly to your soakaway crate. So that's why people use bottle gullies. And once you've put your soakaway crate in there, literally the beautiful thing about these is the 110 mil pipe just slots straight into the middle of the crate. So John kind of got, and not an elbow. Yeah, if you're just putting an elbow in there. So here, look. So this is an elbow. So you could just come down and you could just put it in an elbow. But you've got no access point. I mean, you try putting your hand down here trying to get the flipping, you know, the moss and the leaves out. So, you know, the gullies are designed. They're actually designed. Here, look. So this is what the gullies look like, okay? So this is what the gully looked like. So you take the lid off and you can put your hand in, you can get all the moss and the leaves and the stuff out like that. So you can see there's a world of difference between a gully and just a normal bend. But it's a good question, John. Thank you. Richard App, surely you would take it deeper and put 4 crates if it's holding water from a house. Well, the number of crates, to be honest, depends on the size of the roof area. So to find the size of your roof area, right, you divide the length of the property by the width, right? The times the 2 figures together, then you divide it by 50, and it tells you how many litres, minimum litres, that your property needs. So in this instance, 1,200 litres is the typical volume here. And so once you've worked that out, you just, you know, the kits that we sell. So here's the kits here. The different kits that we sell are based on the size of your calculation. But coming back to your question here, once you've put the kit in, they're really easy to put in. The crates literally just line up with one another here. And then when you've done that, you just cover them with membrane, like so. And then once you've done that, that's what it looks like. You just literally cover them with soil. Job done. That's literally how easy it is to put these rainwater soakaway kits in. So if so in the summer, they water your garden. In the winter, they keep your garden dry. So Neil Valentine, does rainwater not go back into the sewers from a house? Genuine question. Well, look, I really appreciate that, Neil. So lots of, all right, okay, number one, they've made it illegal now, the government in the UK, if you put a conservatory on, if you've got a shed, if you're putting a drive on, if you're building a new house, you're not allowed by law now to go into the sewers. You have to put these rainwater soakaways in. For people who have had their properties and stuff put in before that time, right? People put these in because maybe their gutters aren't going anywhere. Maybe the old drains have blocked up. Maybe the garden's waterlogged. So there's a million and one reasons why people put rainwater soakaways in. But you're not allowed by law now to have them going into the sewers either. So that's why they do it, if that makes sense, Richard. Neil, sorry. Can I use this for my gay sauna? I suppose if it's too hot in there, if it's too hot in your gay sauna, then all this water should definitely cool you down. Neil Valentine, wow, government making everything difficult. Yeah, I mean, you got all these. So basically, they're worried that everything's been causing flooding the last 10 years in this country. So they call it the 100-year storm calculations. And so basically now you have to do something called a SUDS report. We offer free SUDS reports, by the way, anyone out there listening. If you want a free SUDS report, then I'm happy to do that for you. But so now because of that, so they have different names for these. If I just show you on my website here, right? If I just quickly show you this, right? So they have different names. So I call them rainwater soakaway crates and kits because people understand that. They also call them attenuation crates, right? But you'll see the name attenuation tanks becoming really popular now as well, because you can't get your system signed off or your conservatory signed off or your building signed off unless you put these attenuation tanks in now. So if you want free information, as I said, or free drainage reports done, just type in Builders Yard UK onto Google and send me an email, and I'm very happy to do the reports for free for you. But yeah, I hope that answers your question there, please. Neil. JSB. So what does a soakaway actually help with? Are you allowed to fit an overflow on the soakaway into the drain? You can fit an overflow into the drain. Yes, you can. But it has to be an attenuation tank, and the flow has to be regulated, and the speed of the flow. So yes, you can. Those. If I just go back to the website I was just showing you, if I just go back to here, just quickly show you this image here. Look. So this is an attenuation tank. You'll notice that that here. So this would be your kind of silt chamber, but on this bit here, this would be your flow chamber, your regulated flow. And the drainage engineer who does the SUDS reports on these determines the flow rate that's allowed to go back into the sewer. So yeah, it's highly regulated now, and the building control just won't sign it off unless you do it properly. JSB electricity, what does it do? Well, basically, we're looking at rainwater soakaways. So here's a house here. So let's say you wanted to water your garden. Let's say you wanted to water your garden. Oh, it's on. Someone's just ringing me. Let's say you wanted to water your garden in the summer. Let's say you had really boggy lawn and you wanted to drain and dry your garden off. Let's say you wanted to stop your driveway from pooling. Then you put it into something called a rainwater soakaway, JSB Electrics, and that's pretty much what it looks like. Looks something like that. So the water goes into there and it just sits under your lawn like so. And you cover it over with soil, and basically all your downpipes feed into it. So that's basically what we're talking about here, please. So John Kenneth, just in case water cannot. So yeah, I've answered that. User 806. What if you don't have enough garden space? Well, the beauty is, I mean, okay, not everyone's got ideal conditions, to be honest, for it. Okay, that's a fair comment. But the beauty with these flipping kits is they're designed for postage stamp size gardens. So whilst in this illustration I've done quite a big garden, in reality they fit into postage stamp size gardens. I mean, the crates, I mean, this particular footprint of this is, you're looking at 1.5 meters wide by 2 meters long. So what's that, 6 foot by 4.5 foot, if that helps. It's JSB electrical. So what does a soakaway actually help with? Well, basically it helps with, right? Oh man, conserving water if you haven't got water. So let's say it's dry and you've got the hose pipe ban. People put them in because when it does rain, they can capture the water, right? And that means that they can actually water their garden. They can water their garden without having to worry about the hose pipe ban. Secondly, it helps with drainage. So let's say your garden's really waterlogged, right? And you want to drain that water off somewhere into a homemade reservoir, then it does this. Secondly, right, most people used to put rainwater going into the sewers, but now, as I said, if you're building a shed, if you're building a conservatory, if you're building a house, if you're building a driveway, by law you have to now put these in to take the waterway off your extension, off your conservatory, off your house. They have to go into these by law now, so that's why you'd need one. So various reasons, to be honest, but a great question. So JSB Electrical, so does this then soak into the land or just get held till it goes into the drains? Okay, so if your ground's really porous, then the water will come down off the roof into here and drain straight into the soil. If it's winter time and your ground is waterlogged, the water will drain into here, drying the land out, helping the land to dry out. As it dries out and becomes more porous, again, the water can just drain away. So yes, so it drains into the land. John Kenneth, do you still need to fit soakaway minimum 5 meters from a house to prevent damp or have changed regs? No, there is no law, John. There's no law, right? There's no actual law. People come out with these figures, 5 meters, 7 meters. They're just seen as a reasonable distance to do them away from your house to prevent damp. But the reality is, right, because there's no law, if you've only got a postage stamp sized garden, you can only maybe go 3 or 4 foot away from the house. So it's just using common sense, to be honest with you, but there is no law. Right, how deep do they have to be? Again, there's no laws to how deep the septic tank and soakaway has to be, but JSB, everything's based on science. So what that means, JSB, is that you do something like this. It's called a percolation test, right? And these percolation tests are designed, right, to tell you how porous your ground conditions are. And based on the scientific figures you get off that, you can work out how many crates you need and how deep you need to put them. Hope that helped there. So 2 seconds. Where are we now? So give me 5 minutes, because we're okay. 5 minutes, and I'll be with you. Yeah, 5 minutes. Right, I've just got to lock up shop. All my colleagues are leaving me and shutting up shop. So, so what do you recommend minimum distance of soak away from a house? Right. Well, again, there is no law. John. So if you've got a postage stamp sized garden and you can only go 2 feet away, then put it 2 feet away. I mean, look, personally, if you've got the space, right, in answer to your question, if you've got the space, then obviously, you don't want to put it too near the house if your damp proofing's no good, or you've got an old house and the footings are very porous. So, 5 to 7 meters is a good distance to put it away from the house. But I'm just saying there's no law. That's all I was saying. George Johnson, can you not just fill the hole in with stones to do the same? You can do, George Johnson, and I'm going to show you something very controversial now, George Johnson. Have a look at this. So let's say, George, you've dug a hole like so, that you've got 100% cavity there. That means it would fit 100% water, relative to the size of the hole. But this is what happens when you fill it with gravel, right? You've gone from 100% cavity to a 5% cavity. So what that means is, there's your 100% cavity, there's your 100% liquid in there, but once you put gravel in there and stone, which that's exactly what it is, gravel and stone, this is what happens. Hold on 2 seconds, I've just accidentally, damn it, hold on. I've just taken something off there. Bear with me a second. Oh man, I've messed it up. I was going to show you, hold on. 2 seconds, let me just put that on there like so. And where's the gravel gone? Here we go, I can show you now. Okay, I accidentally just deleted it. So in answer to your question, that's what it would be like without gravel. When you put the gravel on, you only retain 5% of the original cavity. So gravel and pea shingle are terrible for soakaways. But because your dad did it and my granddad did it, people like they get really angry when you tell them that, very smart. Might be asked the same question a few times. The live was a bit laggy, but thank you. No problem, JSB. I've told you 3 more minutes, please. And I'm coming. All right. So, yes. So, apologies if it was a bit laggy there. But final word on it is that... many people asking me where they can see more information on who I am and where these products are. Okay, so my name's Grant. We're a builder's merchants. I've been for like 20 years in the business. And if you just go onto Google and type in Builders Yard UK, we'll come up number one there, Builders Yard UK. And we sell everything to do with building, drainage, construction, so attenuation crates, 1 to 2, 3 to 4 bedroom septic tank kits, rainwater soakaway kits, sewage treatment plants, attenuation tanks. We even sell excavators that are half the price. British excavators, brand new out the box, that are half the price of Kubotas and JCBs. So we do loads of different stuff there. So Builders Yard. And if you want some free suds reports done, drainage reports, or any free information, just email me at sales@buildersyard.uk. But listen, thank you very, very much for watching my live stream today, and really appreciate